101. Be tactful. In this neutral nature, knowledge and power are the means of attaining lordship. He is intelligent who can mentally adjust with all kinds of jobs. A man's intention can be guessed directly, indirectly and through an evidence. To keep the secrecy of consultancy, you should consult in an indirect way. There are 5 stages of consultancy: means of starting a job, way of doing the job, job's merits and demerits, means of remedies of the probable hindrances and its effects. After starting a job, you should do the primary formalities, then the essential sides of the job should be completed, then you are to think about the merits and demerits of the job, and then you are to implement the proposed work according to the decision arrived from a consultancy. A wise expressed his likings, disliking, happiness, unhappiness, courage, assurance about his purpose, fear, conflict, confusion, etc., by his gestures and postures. If you can keep your secrets secretly, your purpose will be served soon. Life is full of struggles. We are to go forward to an uncertainty, and we should not disclose about our goals to anybody else. As emotion misguides one's intelligence, so we should complain against anybody secretly and tactfully. It is wise to solve a problem before being a victim. Both tactfulness and firmness are the symptoms of wisdom. Tactfully doing a job increases a man's efficiency and brings success for him. Every creature is having the minimum intelligence and tactfulness necessary to protect itself and to ensure its contentment. Fulfillment of basic needs of a creature occurred through its mastering of tactfulness. A tactics which is dirty and negative to one may be legal and positive to another. As whatever is legal to the rebels, are legal to the administration. A penniless man cannot think much before doing something. If you want something from somebody, you are to give him something as well. This is called the theory of exchange. Everything is easily available if you can exchange it properly. If you want to get something done by somebody, first of all you are to make him interested and enthusiastic to do it. You are to think what the other man wants and to convince him accordingly, and thus it is possible to get the job done by him. If you want to convince a man, physical coercion will not act, because man does not want to change easily. Rather, it may be possible by friendly and good behavior. One of the 2 parts of man's brain is firm and determined, which cannot be purchased at any cost. And the other part is weak and needy, which can be purchased. And we should remember that we should make all dealings with this part. So, there is no such work, which cannot be get done by others with the greed for reward or gift. A reward or benefit for a job should be determined on the basis of the probable danger, risk and fatality of the job. If you want to please a man, first of all you are to understand his mentality. You can't please a man for all the time. You can never please a man by giving him compensation. Satisfy a greedy by giving him money, an angry by begging excuse, an illiterate by flattering, and a scholar by truth. Satisfy a man in the way he wants. Those who are satisfied with wine, women and wealth later on fall victim of these 3 things. By eunander to anger, by honesty to wicked, by gift to selfish, and false will be wine by truth. You are to create chaos and confusion among your enemies and are to instigate one against another. Be benevolent to one of your enemies, be his friend, and win your another enemy with his help. It is quite natural that thorns will hurt your foot when you cross a thorny forest, yet, you are to pass the forest. If a thorn enters in your foot, you are to pick up another thorn to get it out. Get a thorn out by another thorn. There is no lotus without thorns, no moon without spots. If you want to catch a bird, you should not frighten it. A simple procedure does not work all the time. You can make yourself reliable to somebody and bring him in your favor by surrendering, requesting, liking, paying him money, talking dearly and nicely, and doing something beneficial to him. One can win the heart of his dearest one by love, and he can keep others under his control by raising fear in their minds. Through extirpate the prominent, one can become important. The way to finish enemies is to drive away the weak people, to oppress the mediums and to weaken the equals. One's own group is strengthened by evicting the rebels and enemies. A powerful man wants to evict his neighbor from his own house. Tactfulness works better than forcefulness. It is possible to bring somebody in your favor by providing him food, salary, benefit and exempt him from taxes. Face envy with praise, anger and hatred by love, frustration and lack of zeal by hopes and aspiration, annoyance with satisfaction, self-criticism with self-attachment and sense of insecurity with self-confidence. You should be more clever than your enemy. You can satisfy somebody with money and honor. But those who are disobedient by nature are to be controlled by treaty, gift, separation and punishment. People can be controlled in different ways. It is better to control own people by peace and gift, in case of wicked by gift and separation, and in case of opposing by separation and punishment. There are different ways of punishment. Those are cast in creed, directly, indirectly, verbally, heartedly, benefiting somebody, giving hope, conciliation, treaty, gift, differentiation, killing, imprisonment, financial penalty etc. Those who are enraged by deprivation, insult, restrictions, defeat, grief, failure, being rightless, honorless, imprisoned, raped, punished and losing everything, being suffered and exiled, can be inspired by giving them what they want. Those who have committed cruel acts, rebels, sinners, worried, occupants, rich and high officials always remain afraid of others. They poison themselves out of fear. They can be inspired by transferring them somewhere else. Those who are poor, oppressed, miser and addicted to sex and wealth are all greedy. As they are having no equality as well as wealth, they are inspired by some favor. Those who are suffering from a sense of sin, egoistic, inspired by the mean fellows, having no sense of consideration, having no sense of contentment are inspired by the fellows of same nature are arrogant. He is clever who remains hidden and oppresses enemies secretly by money or soldiers. A trouble-stricken man can regain his position by leaving a particular place. You are to keep your motives secret, act like friends with your enemies and finish them one by one, and it is dangerous if your motives are disclosed earlier. A coward becomes bewildered even by a simple gesture. A boat cannot move without water, but it sinks down when the same water enters in it. A bad saying can be guessed from an abnormal behavior, and the character of a man can be guessed by his abnormal physical shape. You should not express your ideas even by your gestures and postures till you reach your goal. As a hot iron can easily be bent, a powerless enemy can be easily brought in your favor through a treaty. You can oppress your enemies by your friends and friends by your enemies, and thus you can bring both the parties in your favor. Remain peaceful, justified, considerate, happy, fresh, full-fledged and blooming by keeping yourself away from bad activities. A king can attain his goal without a war if he takes advice from the priests and suggestions of his ministers. Surely you have many hopes and aspirations, and many bright days are waiting for you. So, take the shelter of a wealthy man and you will be benefited by his kindness and favor. Making friendship and to make it fruitful is an art. The root of capitalism is the greed for profiteering, which is a ladder of attaining personal interest. A man is responsible for accountability of his deeds as he has the power of thinking. A pious man picks up useful things even from harmful ones. Do not leave a useful thing for a little inconvenience. A wise man having sense of timing does not take the advantage of any weakness of his opponents. Suppress your enemy applying the appropriate ways and means. Because it is fruitless to cry during troubles. Crying is always fruitless. You can win your enemies by your good conduct, sweet words and friendly behavior. You can settle a quarrel by controlling yourself than to suffer from a sense of enmity. If you want to hit your target, you are to aim a bit higher. Every arrow thrown from bow feels attraction for ground. Sometimes you can enter somewhere more quickly through back door than through the main gate. Tactics work slowly. Follow the process which seems to be easier to you. Do an easy job like a hard one and a hard one like an easy one. You should not overconfident for an easy task, and do not panic with a hard job. He who thinks about a job to be very easy at the beginning, finds it harder at last. Be careful at the beginning as well as at the end of job, only then you can accomplish your job properly. Whatever is the most simple is the most hard. This is the main symptom of an easy job. In legal matters, follow the path of your opponent, face him with all your powers, but eat and drink with him like a friend. If any system is against genius, it undoubtedly harms a society to a great extent, and it is a serious offense. The specialty of the oceans are that they serve mankind but do not become the slaves. Praise the seas but live in the land. A good driver does not overtake all other vehicle. An efficient warrior does not express his anger, and a powerful warrior does not invite his enemies to a war. Any deal is fruitless without a written document. There are 4 ways of settling a dispute: religious laws, evidences, social customs, and administrative procedure. Reasons for defeat in the disputed matter: irrelevancy among different statements, proved guilty by the statements of the witness and the other evidences, and escaping from custody. A minister and a high official can create a problem for anybody anytime. There are 6 ways of removing a crisis: treaty, settlement of disputes, cordial attitude, fight, conveyance, protection, double standard. We should start actual struggle of our life after acquiring knowledge about place, time, cause and effect, power, etc., and securing ourselves from internal and external risks. If you have to give your opinion, give it after thinking calmly, quality, and thinking about the merits and demerits of your opinion. Do not give your opinion on any matter if you are not specially requested for it. It is folly to pass a remark in any matter at any time, whenever, whoever you like. A wise man firstly thinks about something deeply and then passes a remark on the matter. Fools firstly passes a remark on a matter and then think over it. Fools' minds remain in their mouths, and wise people's mouth remains in their minds. An ignorant man becomes a laughing stock whenever he talks. We should reply to a question after thinking over well. We should not tell something all on a sudden. Your expressions should be strong, and it must be meaningful and reasonable. We should not criticize somebody mercilessly without knowing his standpoint. Listen to a man fully and then reply calmly. Yes and no are the 2 oldest and shortest words, but we are to think much to utter these 2 words. Answer to a questions after thinking sufficiently, otherwise you will be ashamed later. Before replying to somebody, try to understand him. A thrown stone, fallen down milk, and told words cannot be returned at any cost. There is nothing better to cover a lie than an open truth, as being fully naked is the best disguises. A man's personality is hidden under his tongue. It is better to talk thoughtfully with whom you have dealings. Wise people remain silent during a difficult situation. There is no enemy of a dumb. We should not pass a remark about something before hearing fully about it. You may be easy with somebody, but you should not tell everything to everybody. He who does not know the art of being easy loses many opportunities from his doorsteps. He has become free who has become silent. He who talks less or remains silent remains safe from many troubles. He who can answer to a question correctly passes any examination. This is the rule everywhere. Neglecting somebody is a raw material which is used not only for ordinary cases but also is used to misguide somebody. Clever make a group. A jackal knows many arts, but a woodworm knows only one art. A clever man should be dealt with cleverly. Be easy to a simple, critical to a wicked. Behave well with the faithful, innocent and honest men, but show your tricks to the hypocritical persons. Be tough with a tough person, tricky with a wicked person, soft with a soft-hearted man, and honest with an honest man. Who leave you, do leave him. A man can learn something from his enemy even. Arguments cannot solve a problem. Often the result of arguments is 0. Those who argue in all matter are not good conversationalists but are fools. It is folly to argue harshly. Argument means to curtail others' arguments politely. It is wise to accept the reasons of your wife during conversation and to implement your reasons in practice. Irresponsible remarks sometimes make a critical problem. People eat everything during a famine and lose everything due to a quarrel. Listen to others attentively. Argue with good reasons. During settling a dispute or a war, although you are to take the shelter of a negative lie, yet try to create a positive atmosphere with that. If you want to win in arguments, do not participate in it. Let all others win and accept defeat for yourself. This is the only way to win an argument. If a particle of sand enters your eyes and you start messaging your eyes, your troubles will increase. Likewise, it is better not to reply to harsh words. Contact of thumb and forefinger is a sign of arg. The art of making treaty is harder than the art of war. Compromise and adjustment make our lives nicely. Compromise is to sacrifice one claim for the sake of another, but in this way, most of the both purpose goes in vain. A quarrel dishonors both the parties, both of them are condemned for it, and above all it makes both of them weaker, so it is wise to avoid it. Conservativeness is the root of all quarrels. But an intelligent man always wants a compromise. The best way of protecting one's honor is to remain away from the path of a quarrel. Normally illiterates always search for a quarrel. A quarrel creates pride and egoism only. Talk slowly but keep your eyes alert and sharp. Do not involve in clash with him. Obedience to whom is favorable to you. It is wise to refrain from a quarrel before it reaches to its extreme. Avoid argument and quarrel tactfully. Discussion on a quarrel engraves the situation further. Evidences and voting are required to solve a dispute. And then you should not further discuss on the disputed matter. In this way, the matter will be dispossessed. Accept the causes of the dispute. Allow both the parties to talk frankly. Ask them about the solution. Listen to the problems and try to understand it. Be patient and be attentive to the problem. In this way, emotional pressure of both the parties will be lessened. Compromise is better than dispute. While settling a dispute, both the parties are involved in it are to sacrifice something. A conflict can't be litigated by further enlarging it. Compromise is not possible without some sacrifice. Solution of all disputes depends on the evidences of the witness. When parties involved in a dispute do not try to understand the cause and effects of the dispute, or do not try to make it understood to the other party, do not come to an amicable settlement, kill time keeping the problem unsolved, silently or openly hurt each other, it leads to mental suffering and harm for both the parties. Steady and honest persons tolerate unjustified actions of others with a smiling face, as such a dispute with an honest man is solved within no time. You can avoid many problems or troubles if you explain the other party in short regarding a dispute. We should not laugh or be angry during an argument, rather we should listen to others with an open heart and reply to him calm and quietly. You cannot change a man by hurting him, rather a distance will be created between him and yourself in this way. It is folly not to listen to others during a discussion. An argument cannot be won by another argument. Confusion and prejudice cannot be removed by advices. He who can bow down his head never lose it. Those who can talk speedily are undoubtedly sharp-headed, and the fools only stammer. Those who are good in mathematics are undoubtedly meritorious. Brains of whom are active, mouths of them remain shut. The greatest cunningness is to hide it. Weak people show their boldness and the strong people adopt cunningness. He can avoid the trap of a cunningness who knows how to set a trap. Those who are too clever, don't have any friends. Those who are less courageous are more cunning. That is the greatest power by which one can hide his hypocrisy and diplomacy. A man is really cunning who does not seem to be so to others. Had human beings were cunning only, all of them would be loyal to their kings, choke poisons and become hateful to the woman. If somebody is made of the characteristics of a dove completely, if no characteristics of a reptile is present in his character, his lifestyle will be peculiar. Often he will make all his best deeds shiny. We are to observe our actions tactfully and minutely, and to serve our purpose we should take up a task intelligently and efficiently. It is better to play the games of life intelligently and tactfully rather than playing it safely.